What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Making Finances Sexy. My name is 𝐆𝐔𝐘𝐒, your rent rave own realtor and certified instructor with the company 101 Financial, right here in the Phoenix Valley, where I'm making it my mission to help you move from renting into home ownership, no matter your situation. I'm ready to be your personal finance coach and first-time homebuyer specialist. And with me, the incredible Rose Short.
Hey, it's me, Rose Short, aka the Red Queen, coming at you from the Phoenix Valley area where I am deathly allergic to it, apparently. So bear with me as my voice sounds crazy. But I am a realtor here in the Phoenix Valley, as well as the CEO of Kronika Luxury and a financial consultant. It's my mission to help you build multiple income streams, keep roof over your head, fire your boss if that is your dream life, and basically just keep things running happy and healthy.
Woo-hoo.
And today on that trajectory, Jessica is going to talk to us about changing our habits.
Oh, yeah. And this is something that I need to work on every day is just creating better habits for myself. And I've noticed that changing my habits to a more positive or better direction than I was currently in, that more success seems to flow easily to me.
For sure. For sure.
Yep. So habits, they're formed as a result of repeated behaviors in a response to like specific cues or triggers. And the process is known as habit formation. And psychologically, we develop habits as a way to conserve mental energy and streamline decision making and also deal with some stress.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many things that we do that we don't realize we're doing, and it's because they become habits over the years.
Yeah, that's like working a 9 to 5.
100%.
I've been in that where me and my coworkers be typing away and we're like, we don't even have to think about this anymore. But habits are reinforced through changes in our brain's neural pathways. I've been getting more and more intrigued, I guess, by our brains. They're just such, I don't know, incredible machines that and listening to more podcasts about things like neuroplasticity, and that plays a huge role in the formation and maintenance of our habits. And by understanding the neurological mechanisms uh, underlying the habit formation, people can work to rewire their brains by consciously just engaging in new behaviors and breaking the old patterns.
Yeah, brains are fascinating. I went down the neuroscience rabbit hole a couple years back, and holy cow, there's just so much that they can do, that they do without us knowing they're doing it, that they can be trained to do. It's crazy. And that's why when people are like, oh, well, I could never do that. It's like, but you could. Like, that's just a mindset. Like, just shift a little bit, learn something, and you can change a lot about yourself and where you're going in life just with simple little daily tweaks.
Yeah, and consistency, like
Yes.
anything, like you have to be consistent with it. If you want to create a habit of waking up earlier, then you got to wake up earlier for a whole month or 2 months until it's finally your body's used to it and you're waking up earlier and more naturally. Things like
Yeah, I think like 60 days is a lot of what the literature says, how long it takes to actually form a habit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right too. 60 or 90, probably, depending on
Yeah.
the person.
Or the habit.
And the habit for
Some
sure.
habits are easier to form than others.
Yeah, so maybe some practical tips for changing habits. You want to identify your triggers and replace your routines. So, say you're snoozing the alarm once it goes off for the first time, replace snoozing with actually getting up out of bed. Or if stress triggers the habit of reaching for the unhealthy but delicious snacks, consider replacing this routine with a short walk or healthy snacks.
Nice. Yeah, the habits don't have to be drastically changed, right? Sometimes it's the little changes that mean the much or do the much. Um, but But I think people get caught up in the whole idea of just changing in general and like picture it as this huge thing that needs to happen instead of the tiny micro changes that we can make.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming from somebody who had anxiety and things like that, just feeling like I could change and get out of that, it felt impossible. But it's really not if you do break it down into bite-sized pieces, like start saying more positive affirmations, like start really small, like tasks to get you out of whatever bad habit that you're in, and it's possible.
Yeah. It's like anything else that we talk about, right? It goes back to self-awareness and really taking the step back and the time to evaluate what you're doing, why you're doing it, and decide that that's not the way you want to react to it. But
Yep.
that's why I get really frustrated with people who are like, "Well, I can't control my emotions," and it's like, sure, but you can control how you react to them.
Yep.
And I think that's just something that we're not taught as people in general. Like, I don't think a lot of people are taught how to actually process and deal with their emotions and how to not react to their emotions because we grow up with media and whatnot that loves drama, and drama is reactivity. But yeah, a lot of these things, like all it takes is a little bit of study, a little bit of self-awareness, and then you can start making the micro changes to where you're not reacting to everybody else. You're not letting other people control your life because of how you react to what they're saying. You're able to step back, process it, and then not react. And when you become non-reactive, people get weirded out. But you can actually get a lot further in business and personal life and everything like that because then you're the one in control of the situation with that reactive person or that person who's trying to get a reaction, right? So it's something anybody can learn. It's just, again, we're not conditioned that way. We're not taught that way at all. And I think that goes true with habits, especially bad habits. Like, I think we're taught more to give into the bad habits than to create healthy ones.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of people, it's difficult to replace our bad habits with more healthier ones because, of course, bad is more fun. Like, no.
Oh, yeah.
But seriously though, it's hard work. Starting a business, it's hard work. Creating good habits, it's hard work. And it like you said, it comes back to you and how you internalize things and if you're driven enough to go after it.
Yeah. And recognizing which habits like might not seem like bad habits, but actually are, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then figuring out what it takes for you to break those habits. So for some people, it's extra data or reading research about that thing.
Mhm.
For others, it's mentally how is it affecting you. For others, it's looking outside of that and going like, okay, well, if I do this tonight, how do I feel tomorrow morning? And stuff like that. So it's not always obvious that our bad habits are bad until we really widen our gaze on our entire life.
And more practical tips for changing habits. Another big one I think is, and we kind of touched on it in the last episode, but having a supportive environment. So removing temptations or seeking support from friends and family that support whatever habit you're going after. And there's also lots of communities you can join, like Facebook groups and online, in person meetups and things like that with people that have similar goals or want to make specific changes in their lives that might be similar to yours.
Yeah, you and I talk about it all the time where a lot of people, especially when they're younger, their friend group is all enablers, right? It's all people who are not going to challenge them, who are not going to help them grow, that they just go along with everything they do. And then as you get older, you realize that the enablers are not the people you need to be around. You need to be around the friend who's going to be like, no, you're wrong. Or, the friend who, when you're venting about your boyfriend or whatever, won't necessarily just jump on your side and be like, yeah, he's terrible. You need to leave him. Or can actually give constructive criticism about it and point out, there are two sides and you're not looking at this part of what you're saying realistically, like you were the wrong there kind of thing.
Mhm.
And we like the enablers because they make us feel good about ourselves. But in the long run, you need the people who are going to challenge you and who are going to call you out on your BS, because they're the ones that are going to help you grow and change your habits and develop the better ones.
Yeah, and like I mean, I used to be pretty when I was younger, I was pretty pushy or driven towards my friends, but it was for kind of the wrong reasons. I was like, yeah, take that shot. And like, woo, whatever. But like now I'm just like, yeah, start that blog, write that, create that content. Like things change and I'm really happy it did. But I always love to support my friends and what they want to do. And hopefully it's not
Agreed.
downing 6 shots.
Well, and supporting and enabling are slightly different too, but yeah, point taken.
And then practicing mindfulness. You want to cultivate more mindfulness to become aware of your habits and whatever underlying triggers may be there. And, meditation, deep breathing, this can just help us become more conscious of our actions and make intentional choices. Daily, if I start to feel overwhelmed or just a lot is going on around me and whatnot, I'll just sit at my desk and just like like a few deep breaths, and it just really brings you back to center and helps alleviate like I don't react out of anger or frustration anymore. Just taking just a couple a small moment to myself and just really taking deep breaths and coming back and making sure I'm not reacting in a place of heightened emotion.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is really easy to do too, right? Because again, like we're not conditioned to have any kind of emotional intelligence at all, really. And especially with the newer generation, it's just, they're all in their fields and not necessarily in a good way. No offense to the younger generation, but sometimes y'all go a little too far. I mean, we all do. We all go a little bit too far. But um, it's just so important that we take the time to learn those things and just get a handle on it.
Yeah. Understand and feel it, but release it.
Yeah, exactly. Like sit with it, That's something that a lot of people I don't think do is they don't sit with their emotion. They either react to it right away or they don't react to it, but they stew on it.
Yeah.
And there needs to be a good in between. Like you don't need to react like a bomb every time you're upset.
Mhm.
But at the same time, you do need to figure out what it is that is upsetting you. And weirdly, it might be something external, like you were talking about. So go back to the brain being incredibly interesting. I've always had this belief that when I eat carbs, I become more emotional and more irrational, just based off of personal data. And I was having this conversation with somebody a couple weeks ago. They were like, "Oh no, that's a real thing. Like the way the brain processes the sugars can affect everything else." And so what they were saying was if you have a child who's is it ODD, operate oppositional defensive something,
Yeah.
and you give them a lot of carbs or a lot of sugar, it becomes way worse. But if you feed them high protein, it kind of subdues them a little bit. And so turns out I wasn't completely off my rocker about the carbs thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I totally believe it. Like if you eat a lot of junk food, so you tend to feel sadder, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's important for people to understand that like your brain, your stomach, your inner biome, like everything about us is different from everybody else or somebody else. And that's why diets don't work for everybody. That's why, like there's no one solution to everything. And it's really important that you, again, just look inside, take the time, do that self work, and start to realize the patterns of, oh, well, every day that I have chocolate, this happens, or every day that I eat, that bad for me food, this happens, or it doesn't have to be a bad food. Like, oh, every time I eat apples, this happens. Maybe I should steer clear apple. Whatever it is that your body's not processing
Mhm.
the way that you would think it is, and just make those adjustments to see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. I need to do that more, I think. Notice my I mean, I've been tracking my calories and stuff now, kind of, and trying to get into that and whatnot. But I love finding out what works and what doesn't work. Just like the same with
Yeah.
ice baths and how you found your perfect time.
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome. And you need to always find effective ways to stay motivated, visualize the benefits of your new habit, like Rose said, track the progress and celebrate achievements along the way, as always. Even like crushing your goals. If you set yourself on a routine as a new habit, and you're sticking to it, celebrate. It's awesome.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to celebrate with your social media, because there is a again neurological thing that happens when you know that people are watching you, or that it's out there, right? You're more likely to stick to it because especially if you put on social media what you're doing, there's more of a desire to stick to it. So you don't have the people going like, oh, I knew they weren't going to stick with it, or whatever it might be. So using social media in that sense can be really powerful.
Absolutely. I do that to get my butt to the gym. Or when I go to the gym, I'm one of those girls that like to take pictures on my Instagram story, but it keeps me accountable for me too. And like I like seeing the difference. Like you start to notice and it keeps you motivated to keep going. And I've also had people reach out to me and say like you you give me motivation, or like like I really want to start doing this too. And when you get people that jump on board and join you and you see them posting, it's fun. It's a great feeling and we're all creating healthy habits together.
Yes, I love it.
And then just you guys need to adopt a growth mindset. So view challenges as opportunities for growth rather than setbacks. Understand that occasional setbacks are a natural part of the process and use them as a learning experience to adjust and improve your approaches. Don't give up.
Yes, that's a big one. So many times people are like, "Oh, this isn't working. I'm done." It's like, but it could be right around the corner. You don't know. You'll never know now because you gave up, right?
Yeah.
And it's easy to fall into that I can't do it desolation mindset, especially if it's taking longer than you thought, or like people who are trying to quit smoking. A lot of times, like they'll go 3-4 months without, and then they'll have one, and they're like, "Well, I guess I'm a smoker again." It's like, no, like you can have one every now and then and not revert back to 2 packs a day. Like that's a really fast step. Like it's a jump off the ledge, right?
Yeah.
But you're gonna have setbacks. Everybody does. And it's all about, again, how you react to them, right? You can react to them dramatically and overemphasize the fact that you had this small little failure and blow it up to something big. Or you could go, all right, well, I'll reset tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. I used to be bad about that spiral down when one little mistake or something happens, and it's such a waste of energy. My goodness. Like if you can just react calm, even I don't care, your car's on fire, whatever. If you're freaking out, it's not going to solve anything. So but when you stay calm, you just feel better physically and mentally, emotionally, I guess.
Yeah,
And there's a power in that as well when you can stay that in that sense of calm and peace during the chaoticness around us.
for sure. And other people see that and pick up on it too. When I worked in warehousing, there was one day that like it was just a disaster, and there are packages everywhere, and all my employees are just freaking out. And one girl was like, I love working with you because like you look at this whole mess and you're like, yeah, it's fine, we're gonna fix it. And she's like, and I don't know how we're gonna fix it, but every time I look at you, I know that we're gonna be okay. We're gonna fix it.
Yeah, see, you
I was
encourage
like,
other people to stay calm.
yeah, because freaking out about it doesn't do anything but make the situation worse for you, for everybody else involved. Like it just,
Yep,
yeah, like you said, it's a waste of energy.
a lot of it.
Yeah,
But if you stay calm, you can get more done
yeah,
in business, in your personal life. Like, all of it.
Yeah, because once your brain goes into fight or flight, especially if your body's already in fight or flight, there is no clear thinking. That's why you hear about people like doing impossible feats when they're in that mode, because our brain really limits what our bodies can do
Mm.
when we let it. So that's why you get these people who can lift a car all of a sudden because their brain isn't thinking, I can't do this, that's too heavy. They're just reacting,
Yeah.
which again, not the greatest, right? But that's kind of the point, is that you can't figure out what to do if your body and your brain are both freaking out. But if you keep your body calm, then your brain goes, oh, well, you're not freaking out, so I guess I don't need to freak out. And then you can start to really think these through, process things, and get a game plan.
Yeah. Brain, man.
It's an interesting argument.
Yeah, it is. So how do we overcome some common challenges when forming a habit? One of the big ones is procrastination. To help against procrastination, I'd say break down your desired habit into the smaller, manageable tasks and then set specific deadlines. By tackling tasks in the bite sized portions, you can reduce the tendency to procrastinate. So let's use the example of writing a blog, I guess. So I I tend to procrastinate. I think we all do. But if I have like, I guess goal setting can also leak into this. Like habit formations are what we need to put in place to achieve a goal most times, depending on what the goal is. So if you're trying to build your blog up and you need to be consistent when you're posting, right? So set your goal to like write a blog 3 times a week and then just um, give yourself the specific days that you need to write and get them done and do it for not just 1 week, like the 60 days or 90 days. And then it kind of becomes like part of you where, oh, it's Monday. I'm ready to write a blog. And it just becomes a lot easier after the more you do it and don't procrastinate it.
Yeah, time management is a big one. There's so many excuses that people will make to not have good time management. And, if a digital calendar is not your thing, get yourself a physical one. Like, get yourself a day journal and actually, or a day planner and actually use it. Or set alarms on your phone, right? That's a really big one that a lot of people I know use, is they're like, okay, well, I'm going to blog every morning or every Monday at 6 p.m. And then the alarm goes off and they're like, oh snap, like I gotta stop whatever I'm doing, because you can lose track of time very quickly and very easily. But if you've got those alarms set, if you're that kind of person who does lose track of time, that's gonna be a game changer for you to help get that habit going. So don't be afraid to use, the tools around you to help set those seeds in place. And then again, like you were saying, support network. If you live with somebody to tell them like, hey, this is my goal to do this. Can you remind me? Can you, encourage me? Can you do whatever it might be? And for some people, they might decide to do the goal together. Like maybe it's actually do the dishes every night. Like, okay, well, we finished dinner. Now we both need to hold each other accountable and do the dishes. Like, whatever it may be, just find the tools that work for you and use them.
Yeah, and the supportive environment kind of goes to another common challenge, which is the lack of willpower. So make sure the environment supports your new habits. If you're trying to eat healthier and you live with roommates or family, whatever, then talk to them and say, I want to eat healthier. Let's cut out all the junk food and replace it with more healthier snacks and dinners. And sometimes everyone else, like you said, is down, and it can be it can make creating that new habit a lot more fun, or like a lot less miserable, I guess, if you're alone and things like that.
Yeah, because less daunting.
Bonding.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a number of interesting psychological studies that come out that are basically just like, yeah, willpower is not a real thing. It's you either have discipline or you don't. Like willpower does not exist. Humans don't have it. And a few of them are really interesting to read. A couple of them were really scathing, and I was like, "Whoa, what? You okay? What happened to you?" But a lot of them are just fascinating. Where it's like, yeah, like people, as a rule, as a species, we do not have willpower, but we do have the capability of discipline.
Yeah.
So don't beat yourself up if you're like, well, I can't just have one chocolate. Like, yeah, you can't. You're right. But as you grow your discipline, as you grow these better habits, you don't have to worry about willpower because you'll be disciplined enough to just have that one piece of chocolate.
Yeah, no, that's makes sense. And building resilience, it's I guess practicing self-compassion and maintaining the positive mindset. Again, thinking about, losing 10 pounds. Yeah, I just want to eat that one piece of chocolate because I'm going to lose 10 pounds if I don't eat 20 of them.
Right.
And focusing on your small victories and just using setbacks as learning experiences. Can't say that enough.
Yeah. Just don't celebrate only eating one square of chocolate by eating another square of chocolate.
Right.
Kind of defeats the purpose.
Oh man.
But no, as with anything that we've talked about, right? It's always so important to keep yourself motivated, to keep it going, to give yourself those little rewards for the smaller goals.
Yeah. Growth-oriented mindset is crucial when it comes to changing our habits, and your mindset can significantly impact your ability to adapt to it. So, like adapting to the behaviors and sustaining the long-term change, cultivating a mindset that supports your personal growth and resilience in the face of challenges is just needed for that successful habit change.
Yes.
Mm.
And next week, we're going to delve even more into mindset.
Oh, yeah.